Hey, what's up, guys? DJ Fab Sabs here. Thursday afternoon, Eaton Radio. Kicking it off. Show.
あの頃の記憶を長くも歩み孵化して問う残された時間が幸せに気づかせるそばにいるそれでかけらが集う流れ星を追う夜も秩序から逃げ出したの日もこれでパズルは揃うなんて見栄を張るだろう短く非常事実は虚無雨に打たれた花束受け入れられない体現しているかのごとく散る流れた星を追うのももう二度とできない過去だって風を受けてろ
Alright. Some Japanese inspired classic music. Next up, we got something from Taiwan. It's called Windmill. Check it out. We got some guests coming today as well. Let you know in a second.
像在期待着什么，不及时倒数，虽然说现在的梦并没有那么好做，看着气球缓缓升空，在这沉默的10秒钟。
Shout out to Great. Alright, here's the new one from Blood Wine Honey. Check it out. I'm Fab Sabs. This is Eaton Radio. Thursday. Woo! Weekend's here. Clubs are open. You going out? I'm going out. Hong Kong's very own blood, wine, and honey. Shout out to DJ Will. What's up, man? We're at Eaton Radio. What's up? Alright, that's a new one from Blood, Wine and Honey. The Hong Kong band, which is bending all the rules. And this is a new track, and the time is, it's called Testing Time. It's kind of Balkan style. It's got like that kind of Balkan vibe to it. Alright, next up we got Bangkok Cutoff. It was a collaboration that featured a well-known guitarist and bassist from Hong Kong, Rafe. And unfortunately, Rafe passed away last year, and he's missed. And this is one of his collabs. And it's got like a more dancey vibe. I mean, Rafe is really well known in Hong Kong in rock circles. This is kind of a bit more experimental and dancey. And the track I'm going to play, it's called Read Your Mind. And Rafe, he's much missed by everyone. And R.I.P. Rafe, man. This is for you, bro. Fab Sabs, Eaton Radio.
Wait for you. Wait for you. Close your eyes to the darkness, don't fade away. Don't fade away, don't fade away, don't be heartless. Can't you walk on through this empty room? Wait for you, doesn't take a lot. You can't hide, I can read your mind. Can't you walk on through this empty room? Wait for you, doesn't take a lot. You can't hide, I can read your mind. Can't you walk on through this empty room? Wait for you, doesn't take a lot.
Yo, shout out to Sky Limbu. How you doing, man? One of the hardest working producers and DJs in Hong Kong. Shout out to Pressure K. Ben, what's up, bro? Thank you, thank you. Ben says, wicked shirt. I like it. It's second hand. I'm too cheap. Shout out to Lewis. How you doing? We got some special guests coming. Alright guys, I just want to let you know a little bit about Eaton Hotel's new campaign. It's called Breathe Deep. It's encouraging people to enjoy urban green areas and to appreciate nature. And coming on the show today, we have some young film directors who are talking about the environment and climate change, and they'll be here with us at 5:30. So check out Eaton Hotel's Instagram, Facebook, or website to check out more details on Breathe Deep. Shout out to Pedro. Pedro says, let's go on a forest bath. That sounds kind of cool. What's a forest bath again? Shout out to AJ, DJ Circus Ninja. Thank you, mate. You're listening to Cutoff. It's a collaboration with a bassist from Hong Kong called Rafe, who unfortunately passed away last year. Rest in peace, Rafe. Drum and bass styley. Crystal's outside. Shout out to Crystal, what's up? Shout out to Grace and Crystal, what's up? Alright, that was two great DJs there. Got Grace and Crystal just said, do you want a wine? I said, hell yeah. Alright, we're gonna check out a new band from Hong Kong. They're called Lucid Dreams. Some shoegaze for you. Check out the shoegaze here, Eaton Radio. Sounds like a promising band, so we're gonna check them out. Lucid Dreams, a new one from them. It's called Wellwave. Oh shit, it's called Lucid Express. Sorry guys. Lucid Express. Whoops. got some guests coming in, and I think that's them outside, but I'm not sure. You don't know who it is, and you're like, oh no. And like, because I'm using my phone for streaming, so I don't know. I think it's them. I'm gonna find out. Okay, it turns out it's them. We got 3 filmmakers, young filmmakers coming in. Talk about the environment. So we'll tell you all about it. Alright, just got some wine. Alright, so next up we got a crazy track. It's like something which I picked up from Iraq. Sounds a bit like style of Omar Soliman, if you know. Check out this track. It's called the Euro-Syrian Debacle. Cheers. This is Babylon Trio. They're from Iraq. And it's kind of wicked tunes here. Pretty party music, digging it. Yeah. Alright, we got some young filmmakers coming on. What's up to Leo? How's it going? Shout out to Finger Gap. Alright, this is some disco I picked up. It's from Istanbul. Some re-edits of Turkish disco music. Check it out. What's up, guys? Eaton Radio here on Fab Sabs. That was a special mic feedback there. Alright, cool. This is from an album I got recently. It's called Istanbul 70. It's like disco, psych, and funk remixes, re-edits. And there's a whole series of them. And they're pretty awesome. So, yeah, I was actually digging some vinyl. And I wanted to get this group from Iran. They're called Hassan K. But the problem was that, like, somehow shipping stuff from Iran to Hong Kong costs, like, the vinyl costs 120 Hong Kong dollars, and the shipping somehow costs, like, 2,000 Hong Kong dollars. So I couldn't buy the vinyl. So I just got the MP3s. So, this band, I don't know much about them. They're called Hassan K. And they're just wicked, absolutely wicked. Like, just a mix of, like, metal, like, funk, like, disco, housey stuff. You know, so it's kind of like got this idea, like, a couple days ago, like, I should dig, like, some, like, more, like, Middle Eastern or, like, that side of the world style things. So checking out, like, Iran, Iraq, like, even, like, Turkey, that kind of thing. Kuwait, Syria. Yeah, there's some great stuff. Anyway, we got some guests coming on in a second, so stay tuned. There's some young filmmakers. They're highlighting environmental and climate change issues. And we'll hear more from them in a second. Alright, I'm Fab Sabs. This is Eaton Radio. Check out this band Hassan K from Iran. Shout out to Sean, what's up? You listen to Hassan K from Iran. This one's awesome. Next up, we got a band from Iraq. They're called The Finches. Alright, got some special guests coming on the show now. They are three filmmakers. They're highlighting environmental issues. And of course, Eaton Hotel is known for its environmental stances. And so we thought it'd be a good match. Right after this song, they're coming in to chat. So check it out. I'm Fab Sabs. This is Eaton Radio. What's up, guys? Fab Sabs here, Eaton Radio. Alright, we got some special guests right on the show. So there's some filmmakers in Hong Kong. They're highlighting climate change. And we're going to hear more about what they're all about. So check it out. Eaton Radio here, man. We always support the environment, fighting against climate change. Of course, Eaton has their campaign Breathe Deep, which is encouraging people to enjoy and to cherish their outdoor green spaces. And you can contribute by sending a photo to Eaton Hotel to sort of highlight your favorite green spot in Hong Kong. If you want to know more, check out Eaton's Instagram, Facebook, or website. What's up, guys? I'm Fab Sabs. How's it going? All right, so I've got some special guests right now. Can you guys introduce yourselves, please?
Hi, I'm Katya. I'm a student from Chinese International School, and I co-wrote and co-directed this play with Alicia.
I'm Alicia Shen, and I also go to the Chinese International School.
And hi, my name is Ewan Windybank, and I'm a filmmaker here in Hong Kong.
Right. Okay. So can you tell me a bit about like the film that you made, and the name? It's called Our Foreseeable Future, right?
Our Foreseeable World. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Our Foreseeable World. Okay. So tell me about it. Just like give me an intro about like what the film's all about.
Okay, so the film follows the story of a girl called Jane, and basically we look at multiple aspects of climate change. We look at how it disproportionately affects marginalized communities, and we also look at just impending climate disaster and how that affects people's relationships with each other. Yeah.
Okay, so I gather that it was originally supposed to be a play, and then because of COVID, you guys had to make it into a sort of film, but it was set as a play, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that must have been. How was that? Was that challenging? Was that how was that negotiating all this sort of craziness? Yeah.
I mean, it's always hard to adapt, especially when you don't expect anything like this to happen. And it was already hard enough to get the schedule down, seeing that we're students and we don't really have a lot of authority over other students. But it all worked out in the end because that's how we turned it into a film. And I think it actually worked out okay because it's a really modern take on what it means to produce a film. It merges theater with film and creates some sort of like new type of genre almost. And that's how we met Ewan and put him into the project.
Right. So yeah, can you tell us a bit about how you guys all met initially, basically?
I was roped into the project late December, and it was when Katya sent me a DM on Instagram actually, and she sent me the script and she's like, oh, we've been working on this play, and it's unfortunate that because of COVID-19 they couldn't go ahead with their theatre piece. So that's how I got involved. And I remember when I first read the script, just reading through all the lines, and it really had a grip on me because the writing was so well done, and the story itself, it really hit close to home because I myself am a climate activist, and just reading the story and seeing how well they put it together, I really wanted to try and help them make this project into a reality. And since then, I put together we worked together to put together like the storyboard and how we're going to film it, and 5 months later we've got a film to show for it.
Wow. So and where can we all see this film then?
Yeah, so it's on YouTube, but it's easier to find it by going onto Instagram and searching Our Foreseeable World, and that's spelled out properly, so Our Foreseeable World, because it's a little complicated the way we titled it, but it's been stylized that way.
Yeah, sure, of course. And obviously it was a long process. Was it the first time for you guys to sort of do this, script writing and all the things that go into making a film?
Yeah. Yes, it was our first time.
Yeah, so how was it, were there a lot of changes or did it flow naturally, and what were the obstacles, challenges, frustrations, joys,
I think it's really easy to be motivated for this sort of project because it's completely student run and we came up with it ourselves. So honestly, there weren't that many obstacles in terms of script writing. It was mainly like, I guess once you start working on something for a really long time, even if there are small edits to make, you get kind of fatigued. But it was actually a really great process, yeah.
Yeah. So in terms of the actual messaging within the film, I think that I think it very powerfully highlights different sides of I guess climate change denial is what it seems like, or even people's excuses for why they can't act in a more environmentally friendly manner. Is that sort of what was the intention? Is it more like would you say this is more like an activist film in a way?
I feel like our goal was never really to preach any type of ideal, just because we know that this doesn't work. We see that a lot in mainstream media, how people portray the climate issue in such a difficult way for people to actually connect with it. So I think our goal was more through using theater to communicate the issue in a humanized lens, where we tell the audience that every issue that climate change presents has a direct correlation to you. And I think that's some message that's kind of lost sometimes.
Right. Yeah. you mean that people tend to disassociate themselves from the issues in a way, or not my problem, not my backyard, that kind of thing?
Yeah, definitely. It's also like, it's hard for people to understand like why, like, for example, like polar bears, you know, like we always hear about polar bears, turtles, but we don't realize that the biggest impact is honestly on humans. It's so, yeah.
Right, yeah, and almost in a way that we can't see it, but before it's too late, right? Yeah. So, in terms of the logistics of making a film like this, can you tell me a bit more about how you guys, got all the actors and the sets and the props and all that stuff, It must have been really, really, really hectic.
In terms of casting, I guess Katya and Ewan can talk about the other parts, but in terms of casting, we just use social media basically, and there are lots of like youth arts resources in Hong Kong created by wonderful people like our age. So we were basically able to spread the word through social media, and a lot of the people who joined our cast are from our school or from different schools that we might not have ever met before. Yeah.
And we held auditions through Zoom, so power
Wow.
of online communication.
Power of connection. And so the sets and things, where was that all based then?
So we also got help from Red Academy, which is an academy that has dance, singing, acting, basically just an art school. And they helped us a lot. They gave us the venue to use for our filming days, and we got some set items from our school. So basically a lot of people helped and pitched in to help us create this, so it was really amazing.
Right, and I just want to share some comments from some of the viewers, and shout out to Paul, Ray, Glenn in Dubai. Glenn in Dubai says, good on your guests. We need more folks to raise the climate problem more. And I totally agree with that. I think that's, what people are saying, but I think when you look at people of your generation, say, do you think that the awareness is very high, or is there still, more of a battle to get people more aware?
I think awareness right now, it's never been higher, in the sense of like people have been focusing on this issue more. It's been in the news lately. All through 2019, we had the Fridays for Future movement. So yeah, I definitely think awareness is pretty high. Obviously it could be better, but I'm glad that people know about the subject now. I think what's our current issue is that there's not enough action being taken now, because people know the temperature's going up and climate change is happening. But at the same time, it feels like people aren't exactly acting on this information. They're just aware of it in the back of their heads. And I think the more we start to take more positive action and really start to try and make change, things will definitely improve for us.
I think through the power of like film and plays and that kind of thing, that's a really important first step, right? In a way, that's a sort of soft power of convincing people.
Yeah.
I do feel that perhaps people who are a bit younger have more of a awareness, I'd say, because probably they have more of a stake, right? Because of the deteriorating planet, right? But I do notice that there's still many tendencies for, say, people as the older generations, that they see this all as like anything from a hassle to just like outright offensive,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think with the younger generation especially, we've been very fortunate to be able to access all this information very readily.
Yes.
And we've had social media and mobile phones, that have spread information so globally. And because I think we know that younger generations do spend a lot of time on their phones, this information
Right.
eventually does reach them, yeah. And just like you said, young people do have a lot to lose to this. Not to say that older people don't. It's just that it's just a matter of eventually we're going to have to live with these consequences, and if no one does anything about it now, we won't be able to do anything about it in the future.
Right. Yeah. That's obviously something which you guys have. Is that something which you address in the film? Would you say?
Yeah, definitely. Just going back on what Ewan said, I thought it's also about how lucky we are that we have a curriculum that teaches us about the effects of climate change. Especially I feel like our school works hard to incorporate sustainability into the different aspects. I'm not saying our curriculum is perfect, but it allows sustainability to be established as an interdisciplinary issue, and allows different people of different interests to really connect with it, and we're really lucky to have that.
And you said that was Chinese International, right?
Yes.
Yep. So have they been supportive of the whole process and at the film? Have you done a screening? Or, I don't know if school's on or whatever, but or are people attending class or they're doing Zoom right now?
We currently actually are able to be doing school in person, which is really great, and we're probably going to do a screening at school soon. There's definitely been a lot of support, especially from the school's sustainability group that Katya and I are both a part of, called Ditto. They do some really amazing work, and I think just generally we're really privileged because we got this sort of theater education that helps us create this, and then also this sort of fostering that mindset of sustainable that sustainable mindset, basically.
Yeah, one thing that struck me when I watched it, I thought that the filming was really great, and
Oh, thank you very much.
yeah,
mate.
yeah. So,
That's
so how many people were you guys? Had the cameras and whatnot.
So believe it or not, it was just me and a buddy.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah. My friend Michael helped me out a lot, and basically, we sort of just tag teamed the whole day because we had 2 whole day shoots, and we're talking 10 hours of running these scenes and holding cameras. And one of the features of the film is we wanted to try and retain the play format. So what you'll find if you watch it is that every scene is done in one take, as if you're watching the play itself, because that's how plays are. The lights come on, you watch the scene, the lights go off, and then they change the scene. So that's something we really tried to incorporate into the final product. But what this meant is some of the scenes were 5-6 minutes long, holding this camera, trying to film it, and try and get the shot right. It definitely became a strain on everyone, really, because the cast have to keep redoing their thing. I mean, you mess something up 5 minutes into the scene, you've got to do it from the top. On the cameras, if we get out of focus or something, 5 minutes into the scene, again, we got to start from the top. So it was definitely quite an interesting challenge that we put in front of ourselves to make the film compared to normal filmmaking.
So I think that artistic choice could definitely lead to sometimes being like, is that okay, or we have to do it again?
Yeah. I mean, at some points you do sometimes you question, is it really worth doing it this way? Instead of just setting up the tripod, hit record, and then add cuts into it. But I think it worked out pretty well in the end, and we're so fortunate to have such a passionate cast and crew to keep the project going through the whole thing. Because if it wasn't for the passion, then I feel like everyone would have lost patience pretty quickly.
Oh, for sure. I mean, but that seems to be a trendy way of filmmaking, right? That I think 1917 was shot that way.
Oh yeah.
Birdman. You guys ever seen Birdman?
Yeah, Birdman. Those were 2 inspirational. I did take some inspiration from how they shot it.
Yeah.
Both those films, very impressive films,
But
all done to look like in
I'm
one
not
take.
sure. Yeah, I'm not sure it's exactly one take shots all the time because there's like a bit
there's
of
hidden
edits.
cuts.
There's
hidden
cuts, yeah, but no, not a bad effort for sure. Yeah. And I think that we had discussed these issues of maybe 2 or 3 years back now.
Yeah.
So can you tell me a bit about your sort of background in environmental or climate activism? What's the correct term nowadays for this? I sound like, tell me, dear, what's the correct term?
The term's always changing, but I
terrible.
always just say I'm a climate activist. And it started back in, I remember 2018 when it started picking up on the news, and I heard about it and I was like, this seems like a really big issue. And not a lot of people, people were talking about it, but it wasn't like a big thing going on. So I looked into it and I was like, oh wow, this is gonna kill us all if we don't do anything about it. And it was 2019 when the Fridays for Future movement picked up with Greta Thunberg leading the way.
Yes.
And I remember some friends of mine were organizing one of those actions in Hong Kong, one of those processions where we would just march down to Legco and do a sort of student-led thing. And from then on, I got involved with Climate Action Hong Kong, which is a local-based NGO that fights for climate action. And ever since then, I've been very involved in trying to raise awareness for the issue, try and entice action. I've done a few things at my school back when I was in secondary school, and I've still been in contact with a few government officials to try and get to understand what their plan is. But as we know, the government's kind of preoccupied on other things.
I don't know if they have a plan, really.
Yeah, that's sort of what I gathered from what I heard, but we're still trying to convince them to make a better plan.
Yeah, I think probably that's a huge issue itself. I think there's some things that are improving, like although recycling's pretty problematic, and they are setting up with a NGO. I forgot what they're called. But they're doing a lot of more like specific recycling centers, which is a good start. Although again, I don't know where that plastic actually goes, but you know, it's a good start to get people to think about it at least. You know, it could be worse. You know, I guess it can always be worse.
It can always be worse, but we definitely want the government to start taking a bit more action.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great that restaurants in Hong Kong are starting to ban straws and trying to reduce their
Definitely.
plastic, but these are consequently quite minor in the big picture. And although I'm obviously super grateful that we're starting to ban straws, we're still using a lot of plastic, and there's a lot of waste going on here in the city.
No, I think from my point of view, you know, Hong Kong's been a leader in lots of different fields, but somehow not environmentalism.
Yeah.
And I don't think it sounds outrageous to say like just ban plastic, for real.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
All plastic.
I mean, the figures in Hong Kong right now is
Or at
quite
least-
shocking. Yeah.
Yeah, packaging to start with. You know, I mean, it's quite crazy in a way. I have a friend, Rich. He's running a company called Tsunami Sportswear. Shout out to Richard Chambers, and that blatant plug. But he's making like all his plastic or is all like biodegradable, and you can basically put it in water and it just biodegrades completely, and you can even eat it. So for real, I need to find out what it was. Shout out to James. What's going on, man? So anyway, you know, so you've been involved with this for a while. Are you currently sort of on gap year or studying, or decide to like screw university and just do something else? You know,
I mean,
like
that is a funny story.
Yeah.
I am actually a student at City University.
all right, yeah,
But I kind of take it as a gap year because honestly, right now, I haven't, basically due to COVID-19, they haven't allowed students come back on campus to go to
Right.
class, which has basically given me a lot of time to work on films and stuff, because apart from online classes at home, I've got nothing else better to do with my time.
yeah.
So yeah, definitely been doing a lot of film work on the side this year.
So do you guys have plans to make the sequel part 2 maybe, or like what are the future plans? More movies about climate change, about the environment, or something else completely?
Perhaps a tiny break before
Yeah.
going into the next project. But I think using art as a form to communicate this whole issue is absolutely awesome. So I'm totally open to starting something new or doing some other form of, you know, raising awareness. Yeah.
Right, yeah, and I think it's a very interesting thing that how the reactions have been. Have there been anyone who's been negatively, you know, talking about it, or is it mostly like good stuff? Or do you get people who are like, this is BS, and I you know, like, you know, those kind of deniers type people, or just who get super angry about it?
Well, currently on the YouTube video, we had lots of positive comments. Yeah, there's one person who didn't quite understand the play, but I do remember that comment. But they were still very supportive about the whole movement. We did get a really good comment. Do you guys want to talk about that?
Oh, yeah.
From yesterday?
Yeah, sure. Oh, yesterday when we went on RTHK, this woman who was watching the radio, she was listening to the radio, watching the Facebook Live, and she watched our play afterwards, and she thought that it was really interesting. She herself is part of the movement, and she creates products that are like sustainable, and I just thought it was really amazing, because how often do you see your work impact someone else so greatly? And she was really supportive, and that's what it's all about, you know, like impacting people through art.
Yeah, and I think that you know, obviously it's good to have any types of comments, right? Because it sort of does highlight the issue more in a way. And you know, just going back to what I was saying earlier, I feel that especially with the climate issue, that, you know, for example, when someone talks about veganism, instead of being supportive, I find that a lot of people take it like personally, like, you know, somehow. But it's like I don't know what someone else's veganism has to do with you actually, or like someone else's sort of life choices. But a lot of people just take it as like a judgment on them, you know, like, what are you saying about me, you know, like nothing actually, by the way. You know. So I mean, and in terms of you know, what are the next steps for, you know, movement in Hong Kong in terms of, you know, the green movement? You know, how do you guys think that we can create like a greener Hong Kong and a greener city? What are some of the practical things that we can do to, you know, help alleviate the climate crisis and make a better, more sustainable planet for everyone?
I'll say my piece first. I feel like at the current moment, awareness in Hong Kong is pretty good. It could obviously always be better, but currently we do have awareness in the city, which is fantastic. And like I said earlier, the next step is action. And a lot of people, I've had people who come up to me and say, well, my individual action against not using plastic is not going to do much on the big picture. And they're quite right. But at the same time, you've got to think, if everyone starts doing something, it becomes a big action. But I also get questions like, well, even if everyone's doing it, there's still like the big fishes that aren't, helping out, like organizations, companies, the government. And that is also quite right. And my simple response is, if it becomes a priority of the people, then it's going to become a priority for the big organizations, like government, like companies. So if people start caring about, going green and using biodegradable products or reducing plastic, then companies will want to satisfy these people's priorities and start to aim their products more towards them. Similarly, government policies can go that way, and et cetera, et cetera. So it's all got to start with, it can all start from, the small people and collective action.
Yeah, and I think just on that point, and I'm probably quite a bit older than you guys, so I'll just put that out there before I embarrass myself. But yeah, I can see a big change, like from when I was like, when I was your guys' age. No, it was like really in school or whatever, right? We were just, there was so much crap, just packaging, stuff getting thrown away, waste. I mean, and at least now I can see that there's a real genuine demand for saying, like, how about you bringing your own container, like, and how not just like for places like Slowwoods or like Edgar or like those places, but actually for like major brands, like things like Haagen-Dazs or like whatever, right? Actually accommodating those type of needs. Obviously, I think COVID sort of slows it all down a bit, though, unfortunately, because of the don't want to touch everything type environment.
Yeah.
I mean, but I think now one of the issues that I've noticed, I don't know, you guys think that during COVID is like the amount of like Deliveroo and Food Panda and stuff, like the amount of packaging is insane, man. It's crazy. I mean, it'd be good to see some action on that.
I actually did do some part-time with Food Panda a few weeks ago, just because I needed a side hustle, I'm not going to lie. But yes, I was super shocked with the amount of just plastics they use. I mean, they use their paper bag on the outside, but what's inside that outside the paper bag for Food Panda is a plastic bag with the food in it. And it's not only is that wasteful of the plastic, but you're also adding an extra paper bag to that waste.
Yeah.
And it was definitely shocking. But I guess right now in the current situation, we got to also think about public safety, and sometimes getting Food Panda orders is the only way to get through. And I understand this, but it definitely is a shame that so much is going to waste right now throughout the pandemic.
Yeah, I think if there's a demand for it, right, people just make it happen, right? Technology comes out, necessity, demand. I mean, it's not like rocket science. I reckon that people can actually get more solutions to these things, whether it's like reusable or, biodegradable containers, that kind of thing. Although they still create their own type of waste, right? And, obviously we're coming to the end of the show quite soon, but I'd like to first ask you guys, what would you guys like to see as like one achievable goal or ambition for the environment, in the coming decades, say? Just to put you guys on the spot completely.
I'll let Katya say her piece afterwards, but I think one aspect would be like I've realized there's a lot of privilege in being able to have a sustainable lifestyle, and I'm not even a model for like, I still do a lot of things that aren't completely sustainable where maybe I could go an extra step, but there's a lot of privilege in being sustainable in terms of prices of these sorts of resources, or even like the education that I get where I'm able to participate in community service and stuff like that and take action. So I think making these things more accessible for people who might not have the opportunities, because there is definitely intersectionality between, poverty and climate change.
One change that I'd like to see is schools taking more action. At CIS, at our environmental group, Ditto, we like to say that schools are basically microcosms of our cities. If schools take more action to really establish environmental stewardship as a core value to what this school stands for, then this will cause a chain reaction to developing future global leaders, to thinking this is a priority that we as a human race have to combat. And I honestly think that lies with education. Yeah.
Ewan, did you have one?
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was in the corner trying to think of one.
Oh, yeah.
I think this is a really big issue, and having one goal is very difficult.
Right, yeah, sure.
But yeah, I mean, one of the first things I could think of is I remember watching the news the other day, and the headline was, U.S. and China debating who's more responsible for the climate crisis. And I just couldn't help but think, if you have the time to argue about who's more at fault and who's more to blame and who's going to have to do the cleanup of it, why can't everyone just get on with it and try and help and solve the issue? Because, trying to point your finger and you're like, oh, you did this much pollution X amount of years, therefore you must do this amount of cleanup. It's kind of redundant when you think about the big picture, where we all need to be fighting against climate change. And I guess if one objective I'd like to see in the future is, big countries that have huge power to try and do a massive change, to stop arguing with each other and just trying to get on with it. Because otherwise we're all going to be hugely affected by what's to come of the climate crisis.
And I guess I'll just put my own one in there since everyone's doing it. Like, I don't know. I sometimes I like to eat like a junk food, but then like ever since I was thinking meat consumption is kind of bad, I was like, obviously you still eat meat, but I'd like to see like places like McDonald's, KFC, like Jollibee, like all of them, and across the spectrum, like have like meat alternatives. Like, obviously McDonald's has got Omnipork now, right? But, maybe more like Impossible, more Beyond. Definitely just more meat-free stuff and more use of especially beef, like cutting down beef consumption. I think that could be something which I could see as like achievable and something which I hope would happen in the next few years. And we're coming to the end of the show. Can you guys give the whole plug, like where we can see the movie? Give me the full 9 yards about where the name, movie, where you can see it, and final shout outs and thank yous, an Oscar speech, basically.
I'm gonna let the directors do this.
You can watch Our Foreseeable World through our Instagram link in the bio, and our Instagram handle is Our Foreseeable World, spelled properly without the number, literally the word.
I think we should have come up with a better plug. It's kind of difficult every time we have to do this.
Yeah, sure.
But please do try and check it out. At least check out the trailer. I think it's a really meaningful film, and I remember reading the script for the first time many months ago, and I was immediately just drawn into it. And I feel like a lot of people can relate to the subjects we talk about.
And look out for my Instagram, Facebook, and we'll like get that plugged up through Eaton Hotel, so I'll put the link up so you guys can check it out. And thanks so much for joining me. And
Thank you.
fantastic. Thank you so much for having us.
Oh, no problem. It's so great to have you guys, and worthy calls, and awesome movie. You guys gotta check it out. So I'm signing off here, DJ Fab Sabs. See you guys all next week. 6:30 is the limit, and I think someone else is coming in, so we're gonna say goodbye. So catch me from 4:30 to 6 every week, and just stay happy and healthy, and enjoy your weekends. All right, see you guys next week. All right, ciao. All right, say bye, everyone.
Okay, bye-bye. Thank you.
All right, see you guys all next week.
Awesome.
Cool, thanks, guys.
Oh, that was great fun.
Thank you so